It is well known that the Legend of Spyro trilogy has many flaws. The gameplay is mediocre for like the first two games. One of the games is brain-dead easy, while the other one is brain-dead hard. There are also old people complaining how this isn't the Spyro. However, it would be unfair to say that the reboot trilogy doesn't do anything right. It successfully created an interesting world and atmosphere that, despite the low numbers, still has fans to this day. Some of these fans even going as far as to mod in a fully voiced Cinder into the reignited trilogy.
I was born to glide.
God, she's so precious. But the thing that always stood out to me is the music that accompanies these games. As you can hear, it's a far cry from the music found in the originals for the PS1, with some songs literally giving me nightmares as a kid, and songs that make me think I can 1v1 the sun. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that the same people that are responsible for this were also responsible for this? Yeah, let that sink in. The Legend of Spyro OST features a variety of instruments, but nothing really modern, with calm music sounding like it would play at a medieval cathedral and tense music sounding like a Dark Souls boss. But what makes these songs really good is the fuck that.
Choir.
Fucking choir? Choir? Yeah, sure, choir. Caviar. What makes these songs really good is the
Choir.
that complements the instruments. But sometimes the choir isn't limited to simple A's and O's with reverb, but fully breaks out into lyrics that are sung in Latin. It's very hard to understand the lyrics because I don't speak Latin and the only source for translating Latin words is the beloved Google Translate that, putting it lightly, sucks massive donkey. So I geared up with over 3 hours of video game music that was released when I was 3 years old, Google Translate and good hopes. Only to find that some of the songs are already translated and I just wasted my time focusing on songs that other people figured out instead of those that weren't translated. Fuck me. Starting out with the soundtrack that plays in the main menu and during the White Isle level, this song takes its lyrics from a small part of the 66th poem of Catullus Carmina. Whatever that means. The original poem is basically about a princess who gave the gods a lock of her hair so that her husband could safely travel. She gave it and it disappeared the next day. Then her court astronomer came and said, "Hey bitch, your hair is in the sky, the fucking gods put it there." If you don't understand this, okay, neither do I. It makes the most sense for these lyrics to be about the Chronicler, a dragon that archives the history of all dragonkind, which would make sense considering that this soundtrack plays during the level where you meet him for the very first time. He who scanned all the lights of the vast sky, who learned the risings of the stars and their settings, could reference Chronicler's experience in being, well, the chronicler and how much wisdom he possesses. How the flaming blaze of the swift sun suffers eclipse is a direct reference to the event of eternal night, which is just a glorified eclipse if I'm gonna be real with you for a sec. How the stars recede at set seasons could reference how Chronicler knows that the age of Malefor's wrath won't last forever, with everything having an end. The stars receding at set seasons being a metaphor for the coming of New Age. Originally, I thought the lyrics are meant to represent Malefor, but Chronicler just makes way too much sense compared to him. This song plays during the fight sequences in the second level, Ancient Grove, and features one of the most badass lyrics out of all the songs. But here's the issue. I can't for the fucking life of me find the source material, so enjoy the wiki translation. I will not spend hours on this. Like I said, finding the source material felt impossible, so no smart, nerdy introduction for this one. The only solid information about these lyrics is that they come from Ovid's Ibis Kurs poem, and I don't know what the hell does that mean. When it comes to the actual meaning it has for the game, I'm 90% sure that it's about Malefor. However, I also have a theory that it's the ancient grove talking about itself and its hatred towards purple dragons. However, that is the subject of some other video since it gets pretty stretched out. So long with thee will I wage war. So long with thee is probably a reference to Malefor's unstoppable urge to wreak havoc against all of the dragonkind, especially considering how he cast the world into a state of perpetual war. Even death shall not put an end to my wrath is a reference to how Malefor isn't exactly alive during Eternal Night, but his influence can still be seen because of Gaul or the various destroyed landscapes. But to one phantom shall it give ruthless arms against another spirit is the only line I could not find a meaning for. If we're sticking to the theory that these lyrics represent Malefor, this doesn't make sense, so I'm just gonna ignore it. If you have any ideas, please leave them in the comments. Then too, when I shall have fleeted into vacant air. The word fleeted means to move around swiftly or lightly. I think this is a metaphor for Malefor. for Malefor knows that he will return and will meet little to no opposition when he does, which is exactly what happens in between Eternal Night and Dawn of the Dragon. My lifeless phantom is a reference to Malefor's spirit being locked away in the Well of Souls. Shall still hate thy shade is a line that really confused me at first. I think it's supposed to be more of a generic statement about the relationship between Malefor and Spyro. Let me explain. Both Malefor and Spyro are purple dragons, but they are different shades of purple. With that logic, the hate thy shade part makes a little bit more sense. Or maybe it's just me stretching the shit out of the lyrics. Despite the lyrics not being exactly crystal clear here, I think I did a good job with this one. This is Gaul's boss music and it probably has one of the most badass lyrics in the entire trilogy. lyrics are most likely a dramatic representation of the game's world. We have lost everything, and to the extent that life is left is about how much damage Malefor and Gaul have caused to dragonkind and the world itself. It offers just the sense and substance of evil, is a reference to how cold and cruel the world has become ever since Malefor started his little trolling session. What is the use of plunging a sword into a body already dead is most likely referencing Gaul on his quest to bring back Malefor, even though the world has suffered enough. There is no longer any room in me for a fresh wound. This line is similar to the previous one, but it also references how Malefor already waged war against dragonkind before, and once he comes back he'll do the same. Therefore, no more room for a fresh wound symbolizes how the world was already ruined by war before. These lyrics are pretty straightforward and mostly make sense in the context of Eternal Night's story, so figuring them out wasn't that hard. Now wait until you see the next song. Black Powers is a song that plays when Spyro becomes his dark version, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how these lyrics fit into this universe without stretching them out into oblivion. The original poem is about being judged by God before either being saved or cast down into eternal flames, which, as usual, tells me nothing of importance regarding Spyro. However, I believe that the lyrics are supposed to be an overly dramatic representation of Spyro's thoughts at that moment. Shortly before the confrontation with Gaul, Spyro meets with the chronicler, who tells him the story of Malefor, explicitly stating that the sole reason for Malefor's turnaround in life was his hunger for power, his his megalomania. After Spyro finds out that Malefor was a purple dragon like him, he becomes paranoid about losing control and becoming evil, which is a concept that would later be built upon in Dawn of the Dragon. Just judge of vengeance, make a gift of remission before the day of reckoning. This most likely addresses the ancestors or this universe equivalent of God, suggesting that Spyro begs to God for forgiveness. I told you the lyrics are overly dramatic, okay? I sigh like the guilty one. This directly references Spyro's paranoia and fear of becoming like Malefor, thinking that he is instantly guilty for becoming his dark self even though he didn't do anything necessarily evil yet. Yeah, this song is a roller coaster of emotions, and it's in a kid's game. Oh, yeah, okay. The previous song spoke about death and lifeless corpses, fair point. Religion isn't that bad. This video originally started as a way for me to practice editing, and I expected it to be short. Well, it isn't. I plan to make a video about more songs since I have lyrics for most of them already, but it will take time. Like, this video itself took me a lot of time, mainly because of my laziness and procrastination. But, maybe there is something to motivate me to speed up the process, like a like button or a subscribe button.